Hello. Let me just transition everything over to be right. Audio. Audio's working. Go away, Sid. Is it too loud? From what I saw, it looked like it might be too loud. Yeah, I'm gonna quiet that down a little bit. Okay, there we go. Ooh. Hello. Hi, Shrump. How you doing? Ah, this is the part of the video game. Good. I've been playing Fire Emblem Three Houses literally all day. Which has been fun. I really enjoy that game. I just started a new run in it after 3 or how long has the game been out? 2 years, maybe a bit more than that. I bought it initially when it first came out, and then I played through one path of the game. I started the second path, and then I never finished it. So now I have now I've finished the second run, and I've started the third path, and that's 3 of 4 paths. So I want to get through all of it, but it's quite a beefy game. All done with your talk of dragons? Wonderful, because Asians are next on the menu. Let's head to the solar, shall we? Oh, yeah, maybe I should recap what's been going on in the story, because I've been playing the story a lot off stream. So I beat Realm Reborn, and I'm currently going through the patch content. So I just... Ishgard, which is a city that has been sort of like isolated from the rest of the world for a long time, is contacting us, and they're like, we have worries about a dragon that might come and kill us and bring a whole dragon army. So I was like, and we want you to go confirm that that is what's going to happen, so we don't accidentally like set up all our forces and waste a bunch of money on this. So I was like, cool, I'm going to go do that. And I killed the spirit of a dragon, and now he's following. But I killed the spirit of a dragon, and then that dragon. Oh, where'd he go? Oh, here he is. Ah. So I killed the spirit of a dragon, kind of. I defeated it in battle, and then that dragon proceeded to take away the powers that I spent all of Realm Reborn gathering in like 2 seconds. And then he told me, yeah, the dragons are coming to kill Ishgard. And I'm like, great, I'm gonna go tell people that now. So now that's kind of where we are in the story. There's also been stuff going on with capitalism at the same time, and it's not going too well.
Now that everything's calmed down a bit, relatively speaking,
British.
I thought it might be a good time to share our progress on the weapon.
Oh yes, also I have Thank you, Rainalux, for following. That is a better the follow notification is a better jump scare than the jump scare emote. Or not emote, the jump scare point reward thing. Oh whoa, I am 2 followers away from 200. Maybe 1 now. That's very cool. Yeah, they're all British. I forgot. We're also like making progress for how can I summon my ultimate spirit weapon. Just bought Final Fantasy XIV. Yeah, it's a very fun game. I am going through the story, so this might contain spoilers, but it's sort of I'm still pretty early in the story, which is wild to say, seeing as I have a cumulative like 5 days of playtime. You're a bit ahead of me? Ah. So yeah, when you say just bot, you mean it in the same vein as me, as in just bot, where it's like playing through the game takes a long time. So relatively, I'm at the beginning, but it's like a very long game. Now that everything's calmed down a bit. Oh wait, no, this is voiced.
We're on the verge of a breakthrough.
Well, don't keep us all in suspense.
Trump, why would you do that?
Just in case anyone's forgotten, let's
You,
start
I
with
think you
what
can
we
do that to
already
yourself
know.
as a mod. I don't think I need to do
An
that.
Ascian is an immortal because its soul doesn't return to the ethereal realm when its host is defeated. Instead, it flees to the place that lies between our world and the void. Therefore, the first step to permanently defeating an Ascian is preventing its soul from making this journey. And if you recall, when we last gathered here, I had verified that white auracite has adequate capacity to entrap the beings, albeit only briefly.
Which left the small matter of their extermination.
Aye. To unmake an Ascian soul, one must needs smite it with a concentrated burst, or blade, of purest ether. However, we wanted for both the data and the means to forge such a weapon.
Short of experimenting on an actual Ascian, you see, there's no way to gauge how much ether its soul is made of. As such, we don't know what etheric density our blade needs to have in order for it to work.
So we'll just have to make the densest blade we can and hope for
Oh,
the best.
huh.
Though that would require a lot of ether.
Interesting. I installed a new plugin for like some like viewer interactivity and I forgot about it because I did it like 4 days ago. Oh, okay. You can't time yourself out? Then, oh, it's all caps? Okay, I'm just gonna copy paste your name, maybe. If it lets me. I guess it won't. Oh, wait, I can just press the timeout button. Haha. I did do 10 minutes, which might be a bit long. But, you know, it's fine.
Hang on a minute. Why didn't we think of this before? White auracite can hold an absolute heap of ether, can't it?
So I'm not on Heavensward yet. So there's like, you finish ARR, and then there's some patch content in between ARR and Heavensward. And that's where I am right now.
Please tell me you're joking. God's sakes, Ida. I feel as though I'm reliving the same scene over and over with you. How many times do you need... Being intangible matter, ether is given to dispersion. Only in its crystallized form is it a stable source of energy. I will test you later on this, so see...
Right, yes. It's all coming...
So are
46?
you good old
Yeah,
crystals
that's
again?
roughly near the end.
While they are certainly
Yeah.
reliable, they leave something to be desired in the area of portability.
Indeed. I am reminded of the quantity of corrupted crystals required to thwart Leviathan, and the extraordinary lengths to which the Lamentsons went to transport them. What if it should prove that a similar quantity was needed to destroy an Ascian soul? Or still more?
Oh yeah. Level 46 is like when the story is actually like bearable to read through, and it's not like some people ask you to get wine and cheese for an hour.
I do not envy the
It was an awful side quest as a part of the main story quest. It was just terrible.
That's the very problem we set out to solve, and I reckon we've found the answer. If it isn't practical to lug around the ether we need, we'll just have to draw upon another source.
Yeah, the wine and goblin cheese. that is tied with the Kothurst like area where you're just going back and forth between the two places, and it's like there's an imposter among us, and those two are tied for my least favorite quests throughout ARR.
And the only viable source is the land.
If you mean to tap the Great River of Ether, know that it will entail considerable risk. Meddling with the currents may well induce a surge like to the one which despoiled Mordona.
Also, hi, Bakudeku06. Is that the ship name for Bakugan and Deku from My Hero Academia? I only watched I got through like season 4 of that show and then I quit.
When there are veritable reservoirs jutting out all over the land. I speak of corrupted crystals. It might be that their aspect is out of balance, but a crystal's a crystal. It contains ether, and we can help ourselves to it.
While corrupted crystals are indeed abundant, there is no guarantee that they will be in close proximity at a crucial moment.
But what if we don't need them to be? What if we could tap their power from afar? A malm away, say? If we could do that, we'd have ready access to ether aplenty in almost every corner of Eorzea. I've yet to put my theories to the proof, but I've got a good feeling about this. If no one has any objections, I'd like to see where this avenue leads.
If you think it worth your while, you have my blessing. But tell us, what are your theories? I, for one, am most eager to understand the process, however vaguely.
I thought you might say that, but no one wants to listen to boring old theories all day, do they? I know I don't. So with your permission, I'd like to try something a bit more hands-on. I've already built an etheric siphon especially for this purpose, and I've been meaning to try it out. Thing is, the profusion of corrupted crystals in Mordona makes it something of a high-risk testing ground. If anything goes awry with the siphon, it would be better if it didn't happen within spitting distance of quite so... Ideally, I need an isolated specimen. Does anyone know where I can find one?
May I suggest northern Thanalan? There you will find corrupted crystals of middling size, standing a reasonable distance apart. Ideal for your needs, I should have thought. Oh, and if you do elect to visit the place, I should be much obliged if you would assist me in another matter while you are in the area.
Has something happened?
Movement has been observed at Castrum Meridianum. During Operation Archon, the Alliance dealt the stronghold a heavy blow. Its facilities were extensively damaged, and its garrison reduced to a fraction of its former strength. Not long after our forces withdrew, however, their ranks were replenished by reinforcements from Castrum's sentry. They now seek to rebuild, and to this end they have their sights set upon the ceruleum processing plant. Having lost the Empire's support, the 14th Legion lacks the resources to sustain itself. To them, this is a bid for survival, and they will doubtless fight like... Though I have dispatched the Crystal Braves, I fear their strength alone may not suffice.
If I didn't know better, I'd say you were trying to inveigle us into fighting your battle with the promise of shiny crystals. Well then, consider me inveigled. I won't lie, the crystals you speak... Besides, we can't afford to beat about the bush. There's no...
Thine eagerness to hurl thyself into the jaws of danger cometh as little surprise. Exercise due caution, I prithee.
Though you have become a crystal brave, you are yet a scion, Alphino. We could hardly refuse you. Pray, join the Crystal Braves and lend them your support. Thangrid and Papalymo shall accompany you.
Oh, I've always pronounced it as Papalymo.
Ida and Yashtola, in the meantime I would have you assist Moonbreeder. Scout out the crystal clusters, that the testing may commence as soon as the Garlean threat has been...
If it please you, I shall continue mine own experiments on white orosite.
Thank you, Arianger. Everyone, pray see to your preparation.
Yeah. The really good thing is that once you get to the ARR patch content, there's so much more voiced content, and it's much better for me on just like a comprehending level of like the story and stuff. It's just I love voices and voice acting. So where is it? In duty? Yeah. But no, not you. You. So this is what I've got through of all of this. Big game. And this is how much playtime I have. Big game. It would seem that events have once more conspired to rob us of the rest of This is the problem with reading out loud every line of dialogue. Reciprocation. Though I would wish it otherwise, I must ask you head straight away to the processing plant. The Fourth have already deployed to the area and await the arrival of the Scions. Wilrid will brief you on the developing situation. Meanwhile, I must rendezvous with Captain Ilbrid at our headquarters in Ulda. I shall take command of our forces with a lighter heart, knowing that you go support the front lines. Yeah. I mean, this 4 days of content is mostly because I've been messing around for a lot of time. There's a fair bit of that is not story. Your duties take you to Northern Thanalan, do they not? We too must say our farewells to the Rising Stones for a time. Flamin travels to Ulda, and we shall serve as her escort. At my daughter's behest, I go to contact certain old acquaintances in the Gilded City. We are beset on all sides by civil unrest and imperial machinations, threatened by primals and troubled by dragons. We need all the allies we can muster. Many of my friends hold positions of power, you see. It is my hope that they can convince aid to the Scion's cause. If the past events have taught us anything, then we know that Erza must present a united front, or we shall all fail. Ah. How extraordinary that my little Asalia is involved in such far-reaching affairs. I am proud that I might now stand at her side not only as a mother but also as a colleague with influential connections. But I fear Ulda has become a place of danger for even those one so familiar with its streets. Woe betide the blackguard that so much glares in your direction, milady. Ah, Shromp, how is the timeout? It shall be well protected, it seems. Shall we be on our way then? Oh, I didn't realize it did that. I'll remod you after the stream. Can I remod you during the stream? Can I just do /mod? Oh, I can. I believe you've just been granted mod. Yeah. Great. Yeah. I mean, this character was my free trial character. I just bought the game because I wanted to have friends and join a free company and stuff. So, I don't know. Hydrate. I don't have my water bottle with me. I do, actually. I do. I think it's full. I think I refilled it. I'm now very far away from the microphone. Isn't that funny and cool? I need to reset my... I probably need to reset my avatar. I wonder if it's messed up or if it's just like... Yeah, probably. I don't know how to do that. Let me just reset the model. send a message with it. I don't know how to do that. Is that a thing I can do? That would definitely be ideal. I mean, yeah, but you could have just transferred the old character onto a paid account and done them, and not redone all of the story you did do, unless you didn't do any of the story while you were messing around. So the source of my 4 days probably comes from leveling up Scholar and Ninja up to where they are. Also, after I finished ARR, there are just so many blue quests that I got. Oh, yeah, play as a Viera. Yeah. I mean, after you finish ARR, you get one of these things, which I can completely change my character whenever I want, if I want to. But I don't really want to. I'm quite happy with my character, actually. I like the cat girl over the Viera. Oh wait, I just need... Thank you, Nightbot, for promoting me. Ah. Commander Liviere sent word you'd be coming. A veteran of your talents, most welcome. Not that I don't think we can handle the situation, mind you. I just learned a trick or two since the disaster with the Almaja. But returning to the task at hand. The Flames' reconnaissance scouts have reported Imperial soldiers addressing the assembling at Raubon's push. Such a force is likely interested in only one thing, getting their hands on the resources found here at the processing plant. The Garleans could begin marching on us at any time. Pray speak with Lieutenant Edelstein that we might coordinate our counter-strategy. In the meantime, I will inform the others that you've arrived. No doubt it will be welcome tidings. Oh, yeah, I didn't ask, or you didn't say either. What class do you play? I've been playing Marauder throughout all of story, but I did get Scholar and Summoner up because I wanted to... Bard. Bard is definitely one on my list that I want to level up. Though right now the next one I'm going to go for is Machinist. Machinist looks really cool once I get to Heaven's Word. Summoner? Yeah. Summoner's fun. I've enjoyed my time with Summoner. Is that a timeout yourself? Yeah, okay. Oh, okay. Summoner's not difficult. I watched a video on Summoner. You just need to press the right buttons at the right time. Like, it's actually like a very simple rotation that you just complete. There's like no thinking when it comes to Summoner once you know the pattern. I had my sappers take a closer look, and our worst fears were confirmed. These boxes contain powerful explosive devices of Imperial design, no less. By my order, the Flames stationed here are conducting a thorough sweep of the compounds as we speak. Though it troubles me that we are unable to apprehend the Imperial spy behind this, I have faith that our men would be able to neutralize the threat. In the meantime, our scouts bring troubling news on the latest movements of the Imperial army. I would once again ask for your aid. Great. Edelstein, 1 second. Are there dummies in this town that I can just go to hit? That would be great if there were. If not, I guess I can just do it on a... Aha! Right? Uh-huh. No. No. No dummies. Alright, that's disappointing. In that case, I'll do it on one of these big guys here. Oh, wait. No, it should be fine. So... Okay, summoner set. So the summoner loop is really easy. It's just make sure I have Carbuncle summoned. I press 1 to initiate battle. I press 3, and then I just spam 1. And F1 and F2 in between. And then once that runs out, I have my three guys. I just send him out, and I spam 2. And then once that's done, I send my second guy out, and I spam 2 again. And this one I can move with. And then I find a third person. I send out my third guy out, and I press 2 again. Until it's out, and then I wait for, and then I do something in the meantime while I wait for 3 to recharge, and then I loop that, basically. I loop these 2 in whenever I can, just on cooldown, and then I just do that loop forever. Okay, that's weird. That's fine. Yeah, Bard looks cool. Bard looks fun. I've been doing Ninja, which has a very cool... I have a very cool thing related to it. Ah! I forgot I did that. There we go. That's better. So I have a very cool thing related to Ninja. That I can show you. I've made macros for my little guys here. So I can press this button, and it just automatically does the combo. And I can press this button, and it just automatically does the combo. And now I have to kill this guy. Oh, I'm dying. That's... Oops. Well, time to go back to Warrior. What's my Scholar on? What do you mean I don't have the right outfit on? Okay, it's weird. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna go back to Warrior. There he is. I play Warrior because Warrior's simple for out-of-dungeon combat. And I like being able to lead in the dungeons. We've been keeping a close eye on that Garlean garrison, and it would seem the Imperials have finally begun to mobilize. According to the reconnaissance report that just came in, the squads seen leaving the castrum are too few in number to effectively take and hold our position. They will likely mount a swift assault and focus on the acquisition of resources. I have, of course, also shared this report with the Crystal Braves. They've decided to take to the field to meet this assault head-on. I've appraised your fellow Scions of the situation, and I'm heartened to know that they will be joining the effort. I report to Lieutenant Alian and lend your much welcome strength to the counteroffensive. Great. Going to fight some people. That's what I'm good at. That's my thing. I've killed like 7 gods. Glad to have you with us. As I'm sure Lieutenant Edelstein has explained, the Garleans have deployed a small force of Castrum mid-area. The main column assembles to the north near Dolomon's Talons, but we've also spied several squads attempting to conceal themselves on the approach to the west. They wish you to rush forward and commit to the battle with the main column, leaving the detached force free to raid the plant and pillage supplies. Not much of a strategy, but these are desperate men. Captain Ilberd. I understand the commander bid you and your fellows come lend a hand to the Braves. With such a mighty hero at its disposal, the Fourth should have little trouble contending with aught the Garlands might throw at them. Well, reading is hard. But even you cannot be everywhere at once. The Third was getting restless and holed up in Ulda, so I marched them out here and filled any holes in the plant's defenses to add their numbers to your counterattack. The reinforcements are welcome. We've enough soldiers now to divide our own forces and safely engage the enemy far beyond the walls. Aye, 'twould be best to avoid staging a battle anywhere near this much ceruleum. Let's take this fight to the Garleans. A wise course indeed. I shudder to think the consequences should any of this storage tanks be exposed to fire. If there are no objections, the Scions shall join the Fourth and give battle to the main column. You're with the Third, then, Warrior of Light. Your job will be to intercept these squads hiding out in the west and prevent them from reaching the processing plant. When you're ready to proceed, report to Lieutenant Yuyuhase. His scouts should have a rough idea of where the Imperials have concealed themselves by now. How many summons do I have for mounts? I only have these 3, yeah. I like this guy. This guy's cool. Oh, I accidentally missed it. I probably didn't need to fly. It's probably overkill. Yeah. I probably could have just sprinted here. It's fine. Pleasure to be fighting at your side once more, Scion. Our operations invariably succeed when you're around, and victories won't pave the road to greater coin. Now, this detached force we've been sent to eliminate has split into smaller squads, the better to conceal themselves within the terrain hereabouts, I imagine. We'll need to split ourselves up as we cover more ground, and make sure we root out all those would-be raiders. And seeing as you're an army unto yourself, I've assigned you your own areas to sour clean of enemy soldiers. This will be a simple search and destroy. We'll rendezvous back here when the task is done. Happy hunting. That's a bit, weird to say about people. Like, I get that they're the enemy army, but, like, hunting? Okay. I can just press the 2 buttons and I'll be fine. There we go. Geez, the rocks are stronger than the Reapers? Okay. This is a very simple quest. Alright. Yuhase, I did it. You seem grim, Scion. I take that to mean between us, more than a few Garleans won't be making it back to the castrum. These Imperials, though, they certainly made us earn our pay. I would be a happy man if I never had to tussle with another of those Magitech horrors. It is time we bid this war-torn land farewell. I will contact the 4th and let Lieutenant Aliane know the west coast is clear. I would appreciate if you would do the same as you report to Lieutenant Edelstein. Cool. This seems like a bit of a downtime part of the story. Not much is happening. Ah, I failed. Which is bad because I just played a really high point of the story off stream, and now I'm doing the middle stuff on stream, which is not how, which is like the opposite of what I want to be doing. The raiding parties are no more then? Excellent. The Amagina engineers would be most relieved to hear that the plant is no longer in any immediate danger. Thank you for your assistance. You must be anxious for word of your fellows. Lieutenant Aliane has reported a sound victory over at the main column and informs me that the Scions have already tuned their attention to the other, all but one, that is. The Rogaden lady with the large axe. It would appear she has chosen to remain at the site of the battle. I know not what task keeps her from returning to civilization, but northern Thanalan is no place to wander alone, even for a capable sort such as her. I would certainly feel better about things if you check on her before you continue. Great, that's fine. I can do that. This is kind of important. Gotta make sure the crystals work. I don't want to be a part of F8.
Hold on, I won't be a second. The beast seemed peckish, so I gave it a taste of my axe. I know, as Urianger never tires of reminding me. An axe ill becometh the hand of a scholar. What can I say? I like axes. To hear my mother tell it, I came into this world holding one.
Same. I am a marauder and a scholar. Those are the two classes I play.
And it's not as if it stopped me picking up a quill, is it? I often think of the man who introduced me to the joys of learning. He's one of the reasons I decided to come to Eorzea. Him and my excruciatingly stiff childhood friend. Considering how unalike we are, it's a wonder we ever got on. Aye, that ought to do it. So far, so good. At these concentrations, it shouldn't matter too much if something goes awry. Just enough ether to make it interesting. Did you see that? The way the crystal glowed? The siphon works, I'm happy to say. With a few refinements, it should satisfy our appetite for ether. Which just leaves the small matter of forging our blade. I'm not sure how to go about it just yet, but I swear to find a way. I'll put a blade in your hands if it's the last thing I do.
She senses me. A useful talent.
Oh, hello there.
An Ascian. Are they onto us?
By your brand, I see you are an Archon of Sharlayan, keeper of knowledge, seeker of truth. Meddler.
I don't know what the hell's you're saying, but I don't much like your tone.
Your instincts serve you well. But come, be not unsettled on my account. That lovely brow was not made for frowns. But I waste my breath. Let me direct my words to one who understands them. We meet at last, warrior of light. I am Nabriales.
Look at these sideburns he's got.
And you have long been a thorn in my side. I suffered the overweening presence of La Habrea that men might host the power of gods, only for you to undo my hard work.
Oh, bugger.
Do settle down. You must concede that I acted in self-defense. But what's this? I do not sense the blessing of light.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Could it be that frail Hydelin has forgotten her champion? Shorn of light as you are no longer a threat. And better yet, the seal is broken. Now is the time to claim the staff. With it in my grasp, I shall rise above them all and take my place at Lord Zodiac's right hand.
Right hand? I feel like if you're gonna go and try and rise to the top, you'd want to go all the way to the top, not just, like, to second place. That seems like you're not setting your expectations high enough. Like, you might as well go all the way.
Nabriales, he calls himself. With charm like that, I'll bet he has maidens falling at his feet. Unconscious. But this staff, you say just talking about it had the bastard grinning like a brat on his name day. Must be quite a staff. Oh, gods. He means Tupsimati, Master Louis Soir's staff. Minfilia's in danger.
Let's go. Excuse me. Alright, let's go back to Revenant's Toll then. My inventory is getting very cluttered. Like, ugh. Look at all this stuff that I don't need. I'm like I am just running out of space. I'm very much like a hoarder in this game. I should probably like cook things. I don't remember how. Oh. Actually, I do remember how. I just haven't done it. What was my thing I was gonna do? I was gonna do that. Ah, there it is. As well. Hello. Hide the teapot. Oh. Story. You're here. Master Lu Swaff's staff is kept in the solar, isn't it? Quickly now. How are you doing? Uh-oh.
You two.
The sideburns.
So, you were able to divine my intent. What now, warrior of light? Ah, but that name is no longer fitting. You have become decidedly dull, and quite incapable of...
What do you mean?
You truly do not know. The blessing of light kept you and your fellow meddlers safe. It was that which prevented my kind from entering your domain. My kind, I say, though it had no power over the likes of Elidibus and La Habrea. Being of this world, they could come and go as they please, while I could only look on. But I need look no longer. Now that the seal is gone, I mean to act. Unlike the others, I am not given to waiting. I shall take that staff and bring about the next rejoining.
Rejoining? Then it was your doing. The Isle of Val, the scholars, all of it.
You will not harm her!
This didn't go super well Oh!
Moonbreeder!
Why must you insist on forcing my hand? Did you learn nothing from our last meeting? Ah, but I forget. My words fall upon deaf ears.
The staff is but a broken relic, a memorial to the departed. What possible use could you have for it?
What use? You mean to say that all this time you kept the key, never knowing what it was you possessed? The staff Tupsimati, or rather the stone tablet it bears, is host to... Together with the horn, it can be used to draw vast quantities of ether from its bearer's surroundings. How else do you think Louis Soir was able to invoke the power of the 12 without making them an offering of crystals? Summoning requires not only prayer, but a profusion of ether. Even a child knows that.
If I did not know before, you may be certain I do now. But above all, I know that we cannot allow the staff to fall into your hands. I will die before...
Insufferable woman. I would happily end your miserable life here and now. Very well. If you will not part with this...
Uh-oh. That's not good. That's really not good. Amphilia, come back.
After them! Quickly!
Can I just go in? Oh. Well then, I guess it's time to wait for a party. Oof, this might take a while. Thankfully, I'm a tank, not a DPS, so it won't take too long. But, what to do in the meantime while I wait? Do, 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 do. I suppose we could go and do this while I wait. This is a side quest that I think I need to be doing. Oh, never mind. Well, that might have been a waste of money. A giant purple square. I believe that is a Twitch extension I have. I think you have to close it I forget, you have to close it somehow. Turn off the dice roll thing. I think it should just be to the side of the stream. That is an extension I got that I forgot to get rid of. Or I forgot about. It doesn't seem to be working. I'll probably get rid of it after stream. Great. Creepy man. Time to get Minfilia back. Have you Defianced? Yeah. Oh, I should not be right there. That's the kind of thing where I have to, like, run into them, or else they're gonna kill everybody. Oof. Oh, God. That was quite rude. Oh, our tank is not doing too good. Oh, is he targeted on me? Oh, okay. Let's go. Ah. Did we do it? Great. Ooh, ow. Oops, I accidentally messed up my 3-hit combo. Come on. Ah, I still have a berserk to get off. Thank you. Uh-oh. What's going on? Oh, jeez. Are there more than this? Whoa. Hey, bud. Got him. Let's go. Ooh. Let's go. Got Minfilia back. Did we get the staff back? It's very important that we get the staff back. Oh, well. Too many VTubers, you know, graduate? I have a very loose understanding of what graduate means. Is that just like no longer VTubing?
Safe. Thank the
I don't
Tide.
remember. Oh, hey, we got the staff back. Did we kill a guy? Retiring the character? Ah. Or quitting? Yeah. I don't know. I don't plan on doing that. I'll update this character model, but...
Bested me this day. But what of the next? What of all the days to come?
I don't really plan on retiring this character design. I don't really have a character past that.
No longer holds sway here. I may return whensoever I wish, again and again and again. Eventually, you will falter, and the
There will be no next time.
Will it just not work? I don't know if this is gonna work. This seems...
What trickery is this? No, no, you cannot, no!
Use Tube Samati to gather ether. Quickly, before he breaks free.
Does it just work?
Concentrate. Call to mind the time you struck down La Habrea with... Why won't it work? Is it be...
Damn it. So much ether. And it still isn't enough.
Fools! No mortal prison can contain me. I shall make you pay for your insolence.
Please, Mother Heidelin, hearken to our plea. Lend us your divine light.
Are we gonna be able to actually kill an Ascian?
Why can you not hear us? Do our words no longer reach you?
If only we had a bit more ether.
What are you doing? This seems like it's a bad idea.
Moonbreeder, what are you doing?
Master Louis Soir. In death, there is life. Farewell, Urianger. You daft old coot.
Are you sacrificing yourself for this? Is it gonna work? Are you sure? This might be in vain. We don't know how much aether it takes.
Moonbreeder, no! You mustn't!
What? No! It cannot end! I am eternal!
Not anymore. We did it. We killed an Ascian.
Moonbreeder. She's gone. You did it, my friend. The Ascian is dead.
Well.
This device is a legacy of Moonbreeder's toils and sacrifice. I shall hold on to it for safekeeping.
Minfilia, are you all right?
I am.
Oh, we were surveying northern Thanalan when we received the distress call. We returned as swiftly as...
It seems you have everything in...
What happened here? Where is Moonbreeder?
She gave her life to temper the Blade of Light. I have no words.
Rather than await the inevitable, she took her fate.
Does Urianger know?
my friend.
I heard all, my lady. The moon sinketh, taking her leave of the heavens, yet her passing heraldeth the coming of a new day. Moonbreeder hath fulfilled her destiny, hath she not? Long ago, far across the seas in the Charlayan motherland, Moonbreeder and I did study under the sage tutelage of Master Louis Soir. Full oft did he impress upon us that knowledge existeth to serve the greater good. This sentiment, however, was contrary to the nation's policy of neutrality, which censured intercedence in the affairs of foreign lands. In spite of vehement opposition, he founded the Circle of Knowing, and journeyed hitherto the heart of Eorzea. Through his noble sacrifice was the realm spared its doom. Yet this great soul, whom all should rightly have honored, was branded a pariah in his own land. His peers did accuse him of forsaking his duty as a man of learning, and of meddling in the course of history. When he left Charlayan behind, Master Louis Soir gave no word to signal his intent to Moonbreeder. Close as they were, as master and disciple, she was deeply wounded. Above all, however, she was confused. Try as she might, she could ill comprehend her master's motive. The slanders that were heaped upon him after his passing served only to inflame the turmoil within her. For years upon end, she knew not what to believe. Torn as she was twixt the man whom she revered and the man who forsook her and his duty both.
The Louis Soir I knew would never forsake his duty, much less one of his own.
This I know full well, my lady. 'Twas not for want of love that Master Louis Soir hid his intent. He but desired that Moonbreeder discover her own path, free of the shadow of his influence. Long did I contemplate revealing the truth to her, and long did I hold my peace. After all, was it not Master Louis Soir's wish that she come to the truth unaided? I told myself it was, and resolved to let her suffer. Knowingly did I deny my friend the comfort she craved. And now she hath gone to her rest, with doubt still in her heart. Speakest thou in earnest? Did Moonbreeder truly come to understand Master Louis Soir's will before the end? The realization hath set her free. She may now find the peace which hath for so long eluded her. Oh, Moonbreeder, my dearest, how I shall miss thee.
Moonbreeder gave her life that we might possess the means to defeat the Ascians. Her sacrifice must not be in vain. Let us continue her work on the Blade of Ether and see it to completion.
My lady, I would mourn Moonbreeder in mine own way. I beg your permission to return to the Waking Sands.
Of course, my friend. Take all the time you require. We shall be here should you have need of us.
Moonbreeda said, I will put a blade in your hand if it's the last thing I do. And apparently that was the last thing she did. So, Wow. Is that our first, like, major character death? I'm trying to remember if there's another one. No, because Thancred came back. So, yeah. Never have I seen... Oh. God damn it. I missed that. Okay. Heaven's Eye, Savage Aim, Savage Might. I don't care. Alright. As Moonbrito was a native of Charleon, I feel it only fitting we gather a mark before the Mark of the Scholar. Are you familiar with the stone? It is a monument at the Rathfrost, and is sacred to Thelaik, guardian deity of the City of Learning. There shall we pray for our dear friend's soul, and bid her a peaceful return to the light of the Mother Crystal. Ah. Well, actually, I was going to take a very quick break right now. I kind of have to... I'm just going to take a quick break. It's going to be like 2 minutes, so yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. That was not even 5 minutes. Let's go. Okay. I bought Resident Evil 8 a couple days ago, a week ago maybe, or two, and it is a game that I keep meaning to get back to. It's very fun, but like I very much enjoy all of the Resident Evil games, but I've just been too busy with like Final Fantasy XIV and the other game I'm playing, Fire Emblem Three Houses. Ooh, okay. I bought it because the DLC was coming out, or was announced, and the DLC looks so good. I really want to play it, but the DLC probably requires that I beat the base game first. So I'm doing that off stream, but I want to play the DLC on stream. I'm playing it off stream mostly because I already know the story of RE8. I watched a playthrough of it. Okay. Story time. There we go.
Forgive me, Moonbreeder. Had I been quicker or wiser, but I was not. And you paid the price. But you would not suffer us to wallow in our sorrow, would you? You would tell us to... And so we shall. We shall defend this realm and her people to the last.
Life for death, a fair exchange. Other bargains will be struck.
This guy. I like Little Dragon Guy. Little Dragon Guy is funny. Oh, hi there. Bum ba 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 bwa ba ba bwa ba bwa. I'm just gonna press the return button. I don't feel like flying back. I can afford 15 minutes. I'm not gonna have to return 15 minutes. Let me in. Thank you. Bum bum. All right. Though we've said our farewells, the pall of sadness has diminished but a little. Forgive me. As antecedent, 'tis my job to be the pillar of strength for all others to lean on. Yet I also believe the grief we feel now is precious in its own way, and not to be lightly swept aside. Do you not agree? I mean, I only knew her for, like, 2 hours? 3, maybe? I don't know. Pretty, not super emotionally attached to her. Sad, but, you know. 'Tis as if a dagger has been thrust into my chest. But 'tis a pain we must learn to bear if we are to forge ahead with our duty. The battles we've fought have taken the lives of so many. Luiswa, Monbreda, our fellows at the Walking Sands. Their spirit and dedication to the cause, however, will never be lost as long as we rise to fight once more. I hardly need remind you of this, of course. It is for my own benefit that I repeat these words, a reaffirmation of mine own chosen path. If I do not rebuild the foundation of my resolve, I am like to collapse it in a fit of weeping. My apologies again. There's no other to whom I could display such weakness. You are my pillar of strength, and I fear I shall need of your steadfast presence in the days to come. This is like a pretty emotionally serious time. Oh. A victory won, a comrade lost. To honor the fallen, the living forge on towards the new day. This is like a pretty serious moment. But I would just like to comment on, I think it's funny how they characterize me as being like steadfast and stoic, because I literally can't talk. Like they're acknowledging the fact that my character is sort of an avatar in a very creative way, because I don't talk often and I am just sort of standing there with my blank face all the time. Have you a moment? I believe Ito wished a word with you. I shall consider it a personal favor if you would lend a sympathetic ear to her troubles. She's not seen herself since Monbrida's passing, and my heart aches to see her so downcast. No, I haven't. Okay. That was like a... Was that like a time skip thing? Or was that like marking the end of something? Like... That little cutscene thing felt like it might have been marking the end, but... I guess we can just keep going. Hey, it's Artemis! Great! Oh, it's no use. I'm trying to stay positive, but it's just hard, you know? Thing is, I know Moon would tell me off if she saw me moping around like this. Which is why I decided to cheer myself up by getting her a special flower. I placed an order for a moon daisy with Rowena a little while ago. It's ready to be picked up. Trouble is, I find Rowena a bit difficult at the best of times, and well, this isn't one of them. I know it's silly, but I can't face it at the moment, so I was wondering, do you think you could maybe collect it for me? I have the coin to pay for the flower right here. Thank you so much. Guess I'm doing a little bit of fetch questing. Am I gonna have to go through how every individual member of the Scion is grieving? Did you finish the message you wanted to send, or were you just testing out my redeems? What can I do for you today, adventurer? Eldritch trinket to trade? They've got you running errands now? Them Scions really know how to make the most of your talents, don't they? Sending over the Savior Azoria to the Bleeding Market. Fine use of your time, that is. Seriously, though, you best learn how to say no, or they'll have you mucking about the chocobo stands. Anyway, what was here to pick up? The Moon Daisy, was it? Here, then, take it. And tell Ida I've got a wide selection of headwear in stock if she ever needs to replace that Dodio mask of her. God knows she needs to. Just wanted to say R, TBH. Based. Reina, this is a very emotionally sensitive time for Ida. You're being very rude. Look at this little dragon guy. This guy is the most powerful being I faced. He was able to take away my powers from God, and also is threatening to kill the entirety of a city. Look at how cute he is. The worst part about flying is that I can't just, like, do spins and keep going with the same momentum. I have to stop my momentum in order to do a spin. the best part about flying is that I don't have to fight little monsters that pop up. Ultimately, a worthy sacrifice. Rowena can be so annoying. She just will not take no for an answer. Every time I visit her, she insists I replace my visor with something more fashionable. And when I tell her I like it just fine the way it is, she says again, and then again, and then again. It just drives me crazy. What I mean to say is, I really appreciate you doing this for me. Anyway, let's see it. Here's your flower. Moonbreed, I love these things, you know. I hope that somewhere, somehow, she knows I'm still thinking of her. Voiced cutscene?
I'll never forget you, Moon. None of us will.
Let's go. I love voiced cutscenes. I don't have to read.
The song riseth to a crescendo.
You don't rise to a crescendo. A crescendo is the act of rising. You dumb dragon. Didn't you even take 5th grade music class?
Is that what I think it is?
Hello, can you hear me? We have received grave tidings from Ishgard. Pray return to the Rising Stones at once.
Are we going there on foot? We can teleport back there. There's an Aether Stone right there. What a goddamn idiot. Oh, I don't have my return button back. Sobbing. Ba 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 ba. I'm gonna go through this hole here. Whoa! The city is dying. I feel like we are almost at the point where Heavensward starts. I feel like this is like the very end of the patch content. This is feeling like... My apologies for the interruption. I was deeply saddened to learn of Moonbreed is passing. Her loss will be sorely felt. Alas, recent developments in Ishgard leave us little time to mourn. The envoy from Kothers will soon arrive. We must hasten to hear her report. Okay, Alphino, let's go. The envoy is here. The envoy is here. I thank you for receiving me at such short notice. Time is of the essence, so I would forego the usual pleasantries, if I may. Okay, bye. Have a good night. Certainly you've come with news of Dravanians. Aye, the dragons have begun their attack in earnest. The first wave reached the Central Highlands a short while ago. The battle was joined soon thereafter. Sir Amaric himself sailed forth with a contingent of the Temple Knights and several companies of the noble house's finest. Though the beasts were ultimately forced into retreat, our victory, if such may be called, came at the cost of our own too many. We will not withstand a second wave if the Dravanians renew their assault. You paint a grim picture, my lady. Is it reinforcements you seek, then? We do. Though it pricks our pride, it is plain we cannot protect Ishgard with our ranks thus thinned by the Horde. Sir Amaric would meet with you to discuss the possibility of enlisting your aid. Very well. I shall depart to Corthens at once. I must warn you, however, the involvement of the Crystal Braves is by no means assured. Our commitment to quelling the unrest in Ul'dah must take precedence. It is with such contingencies in mind that I make another request. The Scions of the Seventh Dawn are known for sharing close ties with all three grand companies of Eorzea. Would you consent to plead our case to their leaders? I will gladly appeal to the grand companies on your behalf. I dare not promise a favorable reply. You need say no more. Considering our past dealings with the Eorzea Alliance, I imagine how well our plea will be received. But the fate of Ishgard hangs in the balance. We must explore every possible avenue still open to us, no matter how unpromising. I see. Very well. I shall send envoys to each of the allied nations, and have them present your request directly to the heads of the grand companies. In the event your plea does not receive a favorable answer, know that any support is certain to be conditional. Demands will be made of Ishgard. That is only to be expected. Rest assured I shall speak with Sir Amaric's authority in this manner, and that our actions are fully sanctioned by the Holy See. Which brings me to our final request, a personal appeal to you, Warrior of Light. The Lord Commander much desires to speak with you, regardless of your fellow's involvement. You faced Midgarsamar and lived. Anything you can share of your experience may yield us an advantage over our foe. Thank you. You wear the mantle of hero well. It would seem the road leads us both to Camp Dragonhead. Seek me out when you arrive. Great. Is Ishgard gonna join the Eorzean Alliance? I feel like that's sort of the main condition. Because if I was like Ul'dah and or Limsa or Gridania, it would be like Ishgard is finally requesting our help. So like, okay, we'll give you your help if in the future you will join the Eorzean Alliance and unisolate yourself. Oh, hello, Iceheart. How are you doing? Are you...
The sons must answer for their father's misdeeds. Only then will the cycle be broken.
Oh yeah, I forgot that it is literally just like using sins of the father as its trope. And it's like not even hiding that, it's literally saying the words, the sins of the father, for the son. Hello.
Brothers and sisters of the heavens, we raise our voices
Hi.
join you in the chorus. The sinner's feeble magics are undone. Come, claim your retribution.
It's doing good. I'm getting the feel that I am like kind of near the end of ARR patch content without actually checking the like quests to see how far I actually am from it. Moon. Oh geez, I'm a bad person for not remembering her name. Moon Bryden. Moon just died. I forget her name. And it's... I only knew her for like 3 hours before they killed her off. Not enough time to really get Moonbrida. I was close. But I didn't know her long enough to get super emotionally attached. Here we go. Yeah, I'm on the last patch. Yeah. This feels close. I like having Midgard Simmer here. I think he's my favorite minion I have right now. Look at this guy. He's gonna destroy all of Ishgard. Seems I was the swifter, Artemis. You too, however, have arrived with time to spare, for our host is yet to make an appearance. The murmurings about the camp tell some manner of trouble at the gates of judgment. In the Lord Commander's absence, I suggest we visit the place to find out what is afoot. Alright. I'm very excited for Heaven's Word, if only for the fact that I get to have Machinist. I really want to level Machinist up. Or, I want to play Machinist. It looks like a very fun class. Heretic scum, how dare they meddle in our divine protections? I shall rid our nation of their blasphemy, even if it means cutting them down one by one. Sure. We need not fret over much. There are yet several layers of arcane protection that the city from invasion. Mother will be fine. You look like you're committing a crime. Oh, no. Never mind, you're just scared. When I laid eyes upon Lady Iceheart, I felt the marrow freeze within my bones. The gates of judgment are much worse than much more than mere doors. Yeah. 'Twould seem the heretics struck the first, most twelling blow against Ishgard. Scions, we expected you at Camp Dragonhead. My apologies. We chanced to hear that there had been trouble at the gates and thought it prudent to investigate the cause. And you have learned of the heretic's treachery. Lady Iceheart led a force of her followers against our defenders, and came close enough to dispel the first of our wards. But let us speak more of this back at camp. Sir Amonic awaits you. Alright. It's grown bold indeed if you would risk direct action against the city. Come, let us do as we were bid and return to Camp Dragonheart. Lord Hausfont will know where Sir Amonic means to receive us. Alright. Bum ba bum ba ba. I'll get one of these. I just realized I didn't have it active. Harshfont, hello. Or Harshfont. It is reassuring indeed to behold the countenance of a friend when one's homeland teeters upon the very brink of disaster. Though a single misstep could send us plunging into the abyss, your heroic presence strokes the flames of courage within my heart. Oops. I feel like I missed an important line of dialogue. It's probably fine. It probably was just like, go for the meeting. People have arrived at the meeting. Excuse me. Greetings. Shall I show you inside? Yes. Sir Emmerich? I thank you for coming with such haste, and apologize for my absence. Suffice to say, Lady Iceheart and her heretics have much to answer for. Yes, we are but recently returned to the gates of judgment ourselves. Given the circumstances, we quite understand if you prefer prefer to postpone our audience. On the contrary, Master Alphino, I think it is more important than ever that this meeting take place. Rest assured, I shall return to my post on Ishgard's walls the moment our business is concluded. Before we move on to the subject of reinforcements, however, I would introduce you to a close friend and stalwart ally. I thought it said Einstein for a moment. That is not what it says. However, that is what I'm going to be calling them because I'm not going to even bother with this character. Oh, it's this guy. Hello. I've seen art of you. You're also just like the Dragoon design from every yeah, this is the Dragoon design from every single Final Fantasy. This is a Chocobo head. May I present to you Ishgard's Azure Dragoon. An impressive title, though I confess I know precious little of the Order of Dragoons. They are formidable warriors all, and yet even among such masters of the lance, Eistenine is without equal. He, out of all warriors of Ishgard, is chosen to wield the power of dragons, and may thus contend with any Dravanian. You flatter me overmuch, Lord Commander. So, you are the adventurer of whom they spoke. I see now why my blood fair sang in anticipation of our meeting. Well, now that we have been introduced, let us proceed to the matter at hand. I would share with you what we have learned of Iceheart's design, as confessed by the heretics taken captive after the assault on the gates. It would seem Lady Iceheart and the Dravanians have share a common goal, the reclamation of Nidhogg's stolen eye. Nidhogg, one of the great seven great worms. His name features prominently in your nation's history, though once defeated by the hero Haldreth. The beast is said to have terrorized Kothers ever since Ishgard's founding. Aye, many are the scars of our wares bear from Nidhogg's relentless efforts to raise the city. The trophy Haldreth plucked from the bested worm's skull, known simply as the Eye, is a treasured relic of Ishgard, and one possessed of untold power. Should it ever be returned to Nidhogg, the dread creature would be restored to the height of his strength, and then no wall or ward we could erect would be stout enough to deny him. My vengeful son hath raged war against Ishgard for 1,000 years. No mortal mind could comprehend the depth of his rancor. The eye itself, secreted deep within the vault, is kept under heavy guard, surrounded at all times by men and women who have proven their loyalty to the Holy See. But through stout walls and sharp blades may suffice to discourage the heretics, the dragons are another matter. There are several individuals in the Dravanian horde whom an entire company of knights would labor to repel, to say nothing of Nidhogg himself. Nor does age rob them of their strength, though through the endless march of years the dragons endure, patient, calculating, inexorable. You must understand, these creatures do not share our perception of time. And that is especially true of great worms. They who spend centuries in slumber only to wake and resume their campaigns as if mere hours had passed. It had been 20 years since Nidhogg last darkened our skies, 20 years for him to gather his strength, and for us to bolster our defenses. And now, just as he seems primed to return, the heretics strike at the gates. You believe Lady Iceheart is in league with the creature, then? Of that we cannot be certain. Though we know the heretics covet the eye, we've been unable to determine their plans for it. Such questions aside, we must need address the ragged hole in the mistress has seen fit to rend in Ishgard's protections. 'Tis a weakness the Dranavians are not like to leave understand. So it would seem you have described your plight in admirable detail, Lord Commander. Yet I cannot help but wonder at your candor. Why such sensitive information with us? I shall speak plain. Ishgard has need of allies, and I would have you bolster out front lines in readiness for the coming battle against the dragons. This much I expected. Unlike our arrangement concerning the Keeper of the Lake, however, only you stand to benefit from our assistance in this matter. I fail to see why we should intervene in a conflict which concerns only Ishgard and Dravania. When the Eorzean Alliance has requested Ishgard's assistance during Operation Archon, you refused us. Did it not seem grossly unjust to demand now we risk our lives in your private war? I make no attempt to defend my country's conduct. I only ask that you consider what would follow were Ishgard to fall. Having razed our city to the ground, the Horde would have little cause to linger. That would most return to the lairs in Dravania. Soon thereafter, the ruins of Kothars would be buried in snow, and the land would become sole province to the beasts and beastmen. Until the Garlean's arrival, that is, for you may be certain that the Empire would not hesitate to claim Kothars. They would not even have to draw steel. An imperial province sharing a border with Mordana. 7 hells. Very well. We will assist you in repelling the dragons. The roar of a great worm may have shaken the firmament, but we of Eorzea will not abandon our Ishgardian brothers to face the coming horde alone. Nor did I ever think you would. Now, upon the matter of the roar. Allow me, Sir Emmerich. Though the power of the eye, I've become through the power of the eye, I've become the vessel of Nidog's strength. Its essence is stolen into my very blood. Fear not, I am in full control of my facilities, I assure you, and the eye itself is no relevance to this tale. It is not essential that I bear with me wheresoever I go. Its lingering influence does, however, allow me to hear Nidog's voice. Then the worm who roared was Nidog. Aye. He means to hurl his horde against the Denifin's collar and shatter the remaining wards that protect the city. There can be no doubt. The worm who summoned his minions to war. Though the circumstances are far from ideal, this desperate endeavor will at least provide us an opportunity to bring the sister states of Eorzea together in common cause. Sir Emmerich was more ruthless in his negotiations than I had anticipated. I suppose one must give no quarter when one's home is at stake. Did you see the look on his face when he formally requested our assistance? Though the Lord Commander has long campaigned for Ishgard to open its gates to outsiders, I suspect this softening of the Holy See's attitude towards foreign cooperation comes as something of a bittersweet victory. All right. If we are to aid the Ishgardians in this war of theirs, preparations will have to be made, and soon. Before proceeding, however, we must return to the Rising Stones and make our report to the antecedent. All right. So I bet the end of the ARR patch content is going to be this sort of like war, I guess. And then, or no, I assume the war is going to be going into Heaven's Word. I assume like the opening of the borders might be the end. I don't know. It's kind of hard to see the line of where Heaven's Word is going to start. Because I feel like the war is too much content, but also it feels like we're kind of like at the beginning of it, so I don't know. It's weird. Hello, Minfilia.
Alphino, it is good to see you. Tell me, what have you learned?
Pray summon the others. Everyone must hear my report.
So this was all but a taste of what's to come.
Indeed. The main host advances upon Ishgard as we speak.
Whose vaunted defenses have been nullified.
Shorn of its wards, the city will bear the full...
All those people.
Alphino is right. The Dravanians cannot be allowed to prevail. If Ishgard falls, all of Eorzea will suffer the consequences.
Then you agree that we have no choice but to intervene. For the good of the realm, the Scions of the Seventh Dawn and the Crystal Braves must join the defense of Ishgard.
Let there be no ambiguity about what has been proposed. We would be... But if all here believe the cause to be just, then to war we shall go. The path we now embark upon is perilous, but I pray you will... For those we have lost, for those we can yet save.
Then it is settled. I shall inform the Council of our intentions and request that they contribute their own forces to the defense of Ishgard.
What is this? What's this extra camera angle for? That's weird. That feels like foreshadowing. I've bid the Archons travel to their assigned nations. Should the members of the Alliance agree to pledge Grand Company soldiers to Ishgard's cause, our comrades will be on hand to act as intermediaries for the duration of the conflict. The small matter of pursuing the Alliance leaders to grant such support I shall leave to Alphino. For you, my friend, a different task awaits. I would have you reach out to your fellow adventurers, gather what allies you may for the coming siege. I would also have you consider the matter of your own security. Revenant's Toll is but a short flight from the snowfields of Kothars. It is not unimaginable that fighting may spill over across the border. Pray brief Slathborn on the brewing conflict and discuss potential contingencies. The frontier settlers must be prepared for aught that might wing its way over our walls. I only hope that such preparations prove unnecessary. Before you leave, might I suggest you have Tadharu accompany you? She has a talent for administration, and a firm grasp of the practical challenges we may encounter. All right. I just got a notification on my phone, which is a reply to a comment I made, which is weird because I don't make that many comments. So it had to have been like a while ago for a comment that someone is replying to. And the weirdest part is it's not in English. So I don't know what it says, and I don't feel like checking on it right now, so just gonna ignore it. We are rather close to Kothers, aren't we? We'd best see to our own defenses and take stock of our supplies. Oh, and we'll also need beds and bandages to lay out just in case. A good receptionist is ready for every eventuality. Let's go. I have 101 things to discuss with the Slaftborn. Running. Tataru went sprinting for Slaftborn. It's okay, he's like 2 meters away. I appreciate the warning. If war is coming to Kothurst, then the toll must be made ready. I'll increase the number of patrols and lookouts immediately. I'll also see about finding room for an infirmary, as well as temporary houses for victims of the conflict. Ishgard has done well by us in the past, and I return their favor. But as for rounding up volunteers for fighting itself, I'm afraid I must disappoint you. I will not send my fellow guild members to die on Ishgardian soil. I'm certain headquarters will say the same. There will be no official Adventurers Guild presence in the siege. That said, each adventurer is of course free to do as he or she will, as they will. I shall have a word with some of my more capable colleagues on your behalf. But you might try your luck here in Revenant's Toll. I dare say there are a few stout souls about town who will answer your call to arms. Alright. I assume you're gonna be one. Yeah. Oh, hello. Ishgard sounds like she's in a right mess. That ain't what I wanted to talk to you about. I need to cast your mind back to the scuffle with the Empire by the processing plant. A lad from Little Alamigo by the name of Wilrid was there with the fourth that day. And I want to know if you've seen him since. Have you? I have, haven't I? I feared it much. No one's bloody seen him. It's like the ground opened up and swallowed him whole. But that ain't all. Around the time Wilrid stopped turning up for duty, then black market weapons went missing around from our vault in Elda. So now, of course, half the Braves suspect the lad of making off with the goods. Folk like to believe our company's disciplined fighting force, but as you and me both know, there's more than a motley collection of mercenaries, adventurers, and Grand Company veterans. The only thing that binds us together is some vague oath about fighting for the freedom of all, and that's a steady pay. That and steady pay. Now, compared to most others in this crew, Wilrid's fresh-faced novice, a blooming whelp amongst wolves, but the boy's got passion. And when he talked about being a guardian of Eorzea, he bloody well meant it. A lad like him wouldn't rob us blind and bugger off like that type. He ain't the type. And then, this is just between you and me, mind. There's been that lad wanted to tell... The fact that the lad wanted to tell me something queer he noted in the ledgers. Something about the Braves' numbers not adding up. There's a villain at the end of the trail I've stumbled on. I'd bet me good eye it ain't young Wilrid. Any road. You've got a war to wage, so I'll let you go on. I just thought someone should know. I'll be seeing you. Yeah, there have definitely been some foreshadowing moments throughout this that have made me think something's up here. So Ishgard seeks sellswords to bolster its ranks, eh? Though I'm not sure I like the sound of the siege. Those nobles will surely be generous with their rewards. There you are. Hiding from me. they in here? Yeah. Volunteer my services? I think not. Dragons claim the lives of my brothers, blah 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 blah. No. I was not very successful, Tataru. Interact button. 1 or 2, eh? Well, added to mine, that makes 3 or 4. Not including Slafborn's friends. We won't have the largest company in the army, but I'd say 1 Revenant's Toll veteran is worth a dozen Clankin Knights at least. So I've caught up with recruiting that I almost forgot. There's been word from Alphino. Apparently, the Alliance leaders convening in Ulda to discuss Ishgard's plight, and they've requested your presence. Anyway, you best make your way to Ulda or you'll be late. Alphino said he would be there to meet you on the Royal Promenade. Alright. Politics time. Go into Ulda. My favorite city. I'm probably gonna go to 11, maybe 11:30, so that means probably another between an hour and a half of streaming. Ah, no! I'm a fool. I wanted to jump and I paid the price for it. How do I... Where do I go again? How do I do this? Yes, right here. I don't know what's about it, but I like doing this little spinny thing in the air. It's so fun. It makes moving a lot more interesting. I don't know. Rather than just pressing forward, I can do something with my hands. My apologies for calling you away from your tasks, but I had hoped to proceed with these negotiations 1 leader at a time. It seems my urgent requests for an audience have prompted a gathering at the council. Needless to say, I felt obliged to attend. The Alliance leaders have already seated within. Let's join them.
We are well aware of Ishgard's dilemma, and we agree with your assessment.
Then I trust there are no objections to the Crystal Braves' intervention.
Ulda has none.
Gridania does not object.
The Crystal Braves are yours to command, Alphino. Do what you will. We shall pray for your success.
You? What's you?
It was my hope that you would offer more substantial aid than prayer. I know it is within your means.
Do not presume that you have knowledge of our every concern. The Garleans and the Beast Tribes are but 2 of many. We are not in a position to contribute greatly to the defense of Ishgard, not when our own homes are still under siege.
We dare not leave our interests in Cartano undefended as well. Telegi Adalegi and his ilk would seize control of the territories in our absence.
The enemy is at their gates, and you would cower behind yours?
No one is cowering, boy. We will offer what support we can.
Aye, support. A handful of men and no more.
Would that we could commit more than a token force to this cause. Yet there are others to whom you might turn. The free companies ever want for work.
Ah, yes, the free companies. They're not like to turn you down.
I beg your pardon? You would entrust the survival of Ishgard to sell swords? Crises like these are the very reason why this alliance was formed. It is our duty to aid our fellow man.
My duty is to my country and my people. If you expect us to place the welfare of a foreign power above our own, you're going to be sorely disappointed. Lest you doubt, Limsa comes first, then the Alliance, and finally, circumstances permitting, Ishgard and the rest. If you cannot understand so simple a concept, then you have no place at this table.
Forgive me, Admiral.
I suggest you assemble a party of elite adventurers, assuming you haven't already. Your fellows served us well during Operation Archon. I dare say they will do so again.
Did we repeat the sentiment that turned us over? Like, if Ishgard falls, then
If I may,
the Empire...
I wish to propose a redistribution of forces.
The Empire gets a lot more power, which is very bad for everybody.
If we entrust the security of Uldar to the Brass Blades for a time, we can dispatch a larger force to Ishgard. Your Grace?
Yes. Yes, of course. Do what you will.
She's having a hard time. She's very sad.
Is her Grace not feeling well?
To the best of my knowledge, Her Grace is in perfect health.
I see. Carry on.
I'm trying to remember exactly. Like, her plan right now is to give up her power as queen so that Ulda can become a democratic country, right? And that's gonna solve everything. Capitalism solved with democracy. Uh-oh. Once again, I owe you an apology. It seems you've been conscripted into leading a contingent of adventurers on yet another mission of inestimable danger. Yet I fear we've been left with little alternative. We cannot well abandon Lord Hausfont and Sir Emmerich to their fate. We must abide by the Council's decisions, as short-sighted as it is, and strive to fulfill our roles as Eorzea's guardians. Captain Ilberd, what news? The assault has begun? We've but this moment conclude our audience with the Alliance leaders. Move our forces into position. Your unit will join House Durandare at the street vigil. Man the cannons alongside the knights, and thin the Dravian horde ere they descend upon Ishgard. I will join you as soon as I am able. I would have you and your adventurer allies bolster the defenses at the Steps of Faith. Report first to Sir Marceline at the Gates of Judgment, and he will direct you to where you are needed most. May the gods grant us victory. Uh-oh, war's starting. Ba-da-ba-da-ba. Am I faster flying? I feel like I'm faster flying. I don't know. You're appointed captain of the sellsword contingent. Then welcome. There's no shortage of blade work to be done. As we speak, Dravian skirmishing parties are harrying portions across the Central Highlands. I've assigned Crystal Braves and your fellow adventurers to contain these scattered attacks. And for the present, I would have you join them. Ah. This is, of course, merely a precursor to the assault on Ishgard proper. The wily serpents seek to divide and confuse our forces, but we will not be so easily drawn out of protection. The Temple Knights will remain on the steps of faith and continue our preparations. When the Horde arrives in force, they shall face a wall of Ishgardian steel. Report back to me when the advances of skirmishes are slain. What do I need to do? Oh, okay. Are there two places I need to do this? Wait. Oh wait, I'm going the wrong direction. Oh, that's a very different thing. That's this. Which I assume is also important for me to do, but I feel like I should be doing... I'm gonna do this for now. There we go. There we go. There we go. We good? No. There more? Yeah. Because I'm just going back to the bridge. Maybe? No, I'm going here. Oh, this is just more defeating of things. Your gate isn't doing much when I can just, like, fly onto here. Ishgard. Wow. There's another gate up front that I doubt they let me through. Hello. Okay, everybody gather around. There we go. There we go. More. been... There we go. Oh, more? Hi. Oh, these are people doing the same mission as me, aren't they? I'll help out. I feel like I've been seeing Lily Bones today a lot. What news, adventurer? The reinforcements? Decimated, you say? Dravian devils, damn their scaly hides. Hold fast to your grief and fury, my lady. We will avenge the deaths of your fellows in the battle to come. Ere commit yourself to the siege, and you should know what it's like, what it is you are tasked with defending. Beyond the gates of judgment, the steps of faith, the great bridge of stone that leads directly to the city of Ishgard. More than simply means to cross the sea of clouds. The bridge serves as a foundation for the arcane wards of the barrier of the Drafian's collar. Alas, in dispelling the barrier's outermost layer, that thrice-damned witch Iceheart stripped the bridge of its protection, and thus the dragons are now able to land hindered on the steps of faith. Should the Dravians succeed in destroying the remainder of the wards, the winged devils will be free to swarm within the city itself. Needless to say, we cannot suffer that to happen. It shall be our task as defenders to prevent any harm from coming to those parts of the bridge wherein the wards are sealed. All rests on us, adventurer. Lead your command. Great. Is this the trial? Yeah. There it is. You said you wanted to join on this? If you want to do that right now. Sure, do I have to, there we go. Oh, that was quick. Big dragon. The physics of how I'm hitting this one is kind of weird. I don't know if I'm exactly hitting him right here. Oh, I don't have my Storm's Path thing. My Surging Tempest. I should turn on Defiance. Oh, where'd he go? Oh, never mind. He just deloaded. Oh. These things are my job, aren't they? Come on, why aren't they following me? Alright. There we go. Easy game. I saw in chat that this trial is going away. I suppose it is a very weird trial. Like, he's just sort of walking forward. He didn't really attack much. What are they replacing it with? The dragons, they're withdrawing. Victory is ours. Yo, it's the Dragoon guy. One of Nidhogg's greatest champions, slain. The Horde will not soon recover from this blow. But what of you, Nidhogg? Why did you not join in your minions and make of this battle a slaughter? Have you grown so fond of the stench of your lair? Mayhap you prefer to have your allies fight your battles for you. I have a girl to do your bidding now, do you not? No matter. I shall slay Iceheart and all the rest. But I yearn to spill the blood of a great worm, Nidhogg, and only your death will save my lands. You're talking with kind of like the evil tone of voice right now, buddy. Done Crystal Tower? I have not. I've sort of done that sort of in the background. I've done the first one. I still have it right here to do. I'll do it when the game stops me and tells me I have to. The dragons are rooted. Lest you wonder, the fighting at the Steel Vigil was also fierce, but my Crystal Braves were not found wanting. Waiting, maybe. I don't remember. True to your word, you arrived to aid us in an hour of need. On behalf of the Holy See and the people of Ishgard, I offer you my humblest thanks. I would say, stay and lavish your well-deserved praise, but I fear I must away to oversee the aftermath of the siege. Not all dragons are fled, and there are yet wounded to be carried from the field. Pray let us meet anon, that I might express my thanks with proper courtesy. I'd offer my thanks, though your deeds we have achieved a victory of singular importance. When the Dravanian horde thus weakened and scattered, the threat to Ishgard has been greatly diminished, and mayhap, equally significant, the Holy See must now recognize the necessity of cooperation within foreign powers. Long have they barred their gates against the outside world, but I am confident that the day will soon come when Ishgard proclaims itself Much of the sacrifices in our struggles against the dragons and primals, the Ascians and the Empire. But step from unfaltering step, we march ever nearer to our goal. Why did I say gold? And as ever, the journey is made with you in the van. Victory you have won this day gives us greater hope for tomorrow. 'Tis a hope that shall sustain us in the days to come and bear us past the many evils that yet to seek to hinder our progress. Yet we have done well, my friend and I, for one, would take a moment to savor the enormity of our achievement. I am noticing that I've suddenly gotten significantly worse at reading in that moment. I need to take a second to reset my mouth to be able to actually make shapes. The demands of duty, however, allow me to little time for levity. I must accompany Captain Ilberd back to Ulda and reassign those braves whose squads suffered heavy losses. You, my friend, have earned the rest at Rising Stones. Pray return to Revenant's Toll and share your tale with Minfilia in person. Alright. Back to Revenant's Toll I go. Dun 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 dun. Alpha Node sent word of the siege, and of course the role you played in ending it. Your deeds never cease to amaze me. Thank you. These are the same thing. Okay. Does it just change what weapons it can be attached to or something? You must be wary. And now we be your only chance to. Antecedent. A messenger from Ulda arrived with a missive for you. The royal seal. Curious indeed. Ah, an invitation. On behalf of the Council of Eorzean Alliance, Her Royal Majesty Nanamo Namo invites Scions of the Seventh Dawn to attend a feast at the Royal Palace of Ulda in honor of Ishgard's recent victory. It would seem we are to be recognized for our part in lifting the siege. For your valiant efforts as commander of the adventurers contingent, and the Archons for their earnest attempts to rout the city-states. Truly, I find it strange the Alliance leaders should think themselves deserving of a place at such a celebration. All three refused to deploy their standing armies, preferring to send hastily assembled companies of sellswords, many of whom perished ere the siege began. Are they truly so brazen as to think they share in the glory of triumph? Mayhap they simply seek a pretext to meet with the Ishgardians while the mood is yet jubilant. Such an occasion would present a fine opportunity to press Ishgard's return to the Eorzean Alliance. We have scarce time to mourn Moonbreda, and I, for one, am no mood to carouse. But I suppose we must put away our grief for the good of the realm. Though you were promised rest, I fear I must insist you also attend. It would be strange celebration indeed if the victorious hero were not present. Pray content yourself with the thought that such occasions may bring about momentous change, and this without recourse to the bloodshed. Tataru, do me a favor of contacting the rest of the Scions. Of course, Antecedent, please let me know if there's anything else I can do. Sigh animation. I've never known Tataru to sigh at such requests. Could aught be amiss? Alright, am I going to Ulda now? Oh no, I'm checking up on Tataru, making sure she's okay. I'm not gonna die or something. Oh? Where did she go? Look at this fire. Flamin, have you seen Tataru? Okay, it's not a big yellow spot. It's a fairly small yellow spot. I was worried it was going to be a big yellow spot, and I would just have to search the entirety of Revenant's Toll until I found her. But no, right here. I didn't mean to worry anybody. It's nothing really. It's not nothing exactly. But it feels like nothing compared to the towering trials you and the others face every day. That's why I should probably talk to Minfilia before things get any worse. You always know what to say. I'm glad we had this little chat. I love the characterization of I just don't say anything. It's so funny. Like, the way they acknowledge the fact... Like, it's not like... Like, in, like, Zelda, like, it's okay that Link doesn't say anything. They kind of don't really acknowledge it. But in this game, they actively characterize me as, like, stoic and, stone-faced. It's very funny. Like, oh, thank you for this good chat, and I just walked up and looked at her. You have my undivided attention. I've been hesitant to broach the subject with all the recent excitement, but Artemis made me realize there's no time like the present, and the time is what I'm here to ask you for. I'm not sure I understand. If you wish to be excused from your duties for a time, you've certainly earned a rest, but I suspect lying abed is far from your intent. You know me too well. There is in fact something I've been wanting to try my hand at. Along with the adventurers at the Crystal Braves, the Scions are constantly being thrown into dangerous battles and deadly predicaments. Even Array Boulder and Kultinen have been promoted from guard duty to fill our need for competent warriors. And if so, it seems only right that I too should acquire power to defend myself, and others, more importantly. When I return, I shall be both your receptionist and your bodyguard. Going to learn a trade of battle. A disciple of war or magic. Hooray, Boulder! This is the first time I've almost been knocked to the ground by a Lalafell. I've never seen Miss Tataru so determined. Has aught befell which I might help antecedent? Not at the present, thank you. Was there something you would ask of me? Oh yes, pray, excuse my distraction. An adventurer who was to join us for escort duty was injured while on patrol. I fear we cannot properly defend the scholars entrusted to our protection without the aid of at least one more guard. Therefore, I humbly request that another adventurer, of capable kind, of course, be assigned to our party. Would that be me? It's normally me. What? The power to defend oneself. Tataru has ever been full of surprises. Now that I think of it, I do recall Urianger mentioning that she had developed an interest in arcanima. Mayhap she hopes to gain admittance of the Arcanist Guild in Limsa Laminsa? Yes, that would be the way of it. Would you be as kind to journey to the guild to see all that is well? It is doubtless unwarranted, but I'm surely not alone from my concern for her safety. I wonder, do you perchance recall the commitment I made to furnish Ray Boulder with a capable adventurer? Well, I'm sorry to say, I have as yet been unable to do so. Now I realize you're more than a capable adventurer. Yeah, it's me. And that escort duty is frankly beneath a woman of your talents. But I have no one else to turn to at present. Might you be willing to forego rest and assist us in this matter? Yep. That's really weird. Having two MSQ quests at the same time, that's weird. They haven't done that before. That's not allowed. Hooray! Boulder! Hori Boulder's his name, right? Is it true you've agreed to lend us a hand? Yep. Huzzah! What did I tell you, Coltonut? Our misfortune has become a blessing, an opportunity to serve alongside the Warrior of Light herself. May I remind you we have 3 scholars to escort, each of whom will take a different route? True, but our mission is the same. Separated by moments we may be, in spirit we shall be together. If such thoughts bring you joy, then you are welcome to think them. To more practical concerns, we would have you attend the scholar charged with surveying the South Shroud. He's waiting at Camp Tranquil as we speak. All you need to do is follow the man. He will determine the most appropriate locations to take his readings. In spirit, we shall be together every step of the way. All right. I think I'll do this one first. I'm sorry, Tataru, but I don't know. I feel like it doesn't matter, and I've already gained momentum with this one. So let's go. I'm tasked with escorting you. A pity we have no time for pleasantries. Our first destination is the Zimhar. Come, we're late enough as it is. Alright. Oh, it's not an actual... It's not an actual escort mission. Good. They've done that in the past. Those are annoying. I have to, like, call them over. No. I'd rather not, actually. Here he is. Maybe? Here he is. This location should suffice. Once I finish calibrating my instruments, I will require but a moment to take the necessary measurements. I trust I need not explain my work can suffer no interruptions. Then please stand at appropriate distance and keep watch for beasts. Alright, that works. That's my job. Bop, 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 bop. Hello. Ah, they're ranged? Okay. Just deal with this one first, then. I can't get them together to AoE them. Are we good? Great. This feels like kind of a filler quest. I feel like I don't know how important this is. I'm not going to be too strict about reading things for this one quest. Oh, here he is. There you are, bud. Did I kill it? Oh, okay. Yeah, he's not saying anything. He's just saying, wow, these readings sure are weird. Wow, I really am connected in spirit with Mr. Hooray Boulder. I forgot this was a dungeon. Yep, let's go. Same thing. This is a pretty boring quest. Bop, 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 bop. Any more? You. Come here. Okay. Oh, there's more. Alright. Oh hey, it's Rage and Lily. Those people. I recognize those people. I'm a little bit ahead of them. Ha 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 ha. Oh. I mean, the aether concentrations there are so high that crystalline structures form spontaneously. Consequently... okay. Cool. I guess there's more I have to do with this guy. Look! The least among us. It's not capitalized again. Whenever they say among us, it's not capitalized. I think that's weird. And funny. Okay, Mr. Scholar, dude. Yeah. Where's my destination I need to be sat at? Where it is. Something important gonna happen? Uh-oh. That's not good. Wilrid? What are you doing here? You two are being suspicious, I think. You should return to the Rising Stones. The antecedent will want to know what happened here. You're not going to kill this guy, are you? So do I. Okay. Never mind. Okay. Back to Revenant's Toll we go. I'll just do that. Alright. Wow. Suppose it's time to go to Tataru. Yeah, I will definitely use a ticket there. These Aetheryte tickets, I renewed my subscription and I got 99 of them. I was like, whoa, 99? That's gonna take so long for me to get through. That's so many. But then I'm now on 60? I renewed my subscription yesterday. So, you know. Wait, you're not the person I need to look through for? Teleporting happens a lot more than I thought. It's not like I'm using them for every single teleport either. Hello, hello, Tataru. What are you doing here? I just wanted to make sure you were okay. It's the last thing I wanted. Putting an end to such worries is precisely the reason I'm here, don't you see? I, Tataru Taru, shall become a great and powerful arcanist. And now, Mistress, Thubeer Games. At Mistress Thubeergam's behest, I must go and complete a special training exercise. Until we meet again. Thubeergame. I don't know. I've stopped talking to her. You're acquainted with our newest member. An arcanist of your experience must see that her potential is somewhat lacking. Nevertheless, she would not be denied, and goes now to undertake her first trial, a simulated inspection of 3 crates. Doubtless you recall receiving similar training under Kalia's supervision. A thought occurs to me. Why do you not oversee Tataru's training yourself? Given your relationship with the girl and your familiarity with the task, I think you as the ideal choice. You need only head to the cliffs south at the Zephyr Gate. As before, you observe at the distance. That's interesting. Would it give me slightly different dialogue if I hadn't been an arcanist? I might as well be an arcanist. Or, not an arcanist, but a scholar now. I guess I could be an arcanist, but that's bad. Let's go. I want to go this way. This is Middle Lenoska? Yeah. Oh. I thought it was up further. I should probably be facing that direction. You know, it's fine. Are those crates I spy? And this must be the true test. We're ready for them, aren't we, Carbuncle? So, she's like a level 1 Arcanist. Carbuncle, no! Little guy, come back. He's zooming. Where's he going? Oh. Sadaru. Are you okay? How far are you? You're within sprinting distance. I can get to you. Aha. Found you. I should have known you'd come. You didn't need to say a word. Your face says it all. I know you bore witness to my shame. Betrayed by my own carbuncle and left at the mercy of wild beasts. I'll never be a warrior like you or others. I'll inform Mistress of my intention to withdraw from the guild. Like so much else is beyond me. Oh, you could do it. It's pretty easy. You just gotta, like, you press the summon button. And then it just works. Abysmally, as Artemis will testify. I was wrong to become an arcanist. Wrong as usual. I'm completely and utterly unqualified, and sincerely apologize for wasting your time. If that were true, I would not have permitted you to join in the first place. We all come to accept our limitations, lest our ambitions lead us astray. However, we must not lose sight of our strengths in the process. For example, your exceptional skill with numbers helped you gain a solid grasp of fundamentals of Arcanima. Were it not so, you would have struggled to summon a carbuncle to your side. In my opinion, the Scions are truly fortunate to have a capable and good-natured receptionist in their service. Would you not agree? Yeah. Though I could not overcome this challenge, I shall take your words to heart, and not truly be discouraged. What is this? In which case I'd like your assistance with an experiment. If you're willing, pray join me in the practice area. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. What is this? My apologies for the wait. Call forth an edgy. I should very much like to see one with mine own eyes. Mayhap the Ifrit edgy would be suitable. I understand there's first being to be summoned. Yeah. Woo, look at this guy. Most impressive being indeed, created according to Mirda in the image of the entity which most closely associates with fire, Ifrit. It is my hypothesis that the same fundamental principle can be employed to alter the form of the Ejai by calling another image to mind. Pray summon the Ifrit edgy again, but focus your consciousness upon Carbuncle. It shouldn't be difficult given the bond you share. Little guy. Brilliant, my theory holds. Whilst it takes the form of Carbuncle, there is no mistaking its ethereal composition. I should not imagine that its abilities it wields have changed. For all intents and purposes, it's still an Ifrit edgy, but now we know there's no limit to an edgy's appearance. Well, I must be returning to my post. Let us continue this upstairs. Are these pet clamors? I think I remember seeing this in like the summoner video that I watched. I might end stream after this, or at least after. Oh. Yeah, I might end stream right now after this. If you want Brood Edgy to appear as if it was Ruby Carbuncle. Okay. Ah, okay. Well, in that case. To Emerald Carbuncle. That? Okay. Ruby. Ifrit. And then Topaz and Titan. Titan. Oh. Can I get more? Wait, I just missed that. Are there more that I can get? Play guide. No, not play guide. Active help. Yeah. Pet climber. Pet climbers. Pet. Okay. The text command must be executed before summoning your familiar. Entering the text command without specifying it. Okay. For information on currently available glamours. Are there more pet glamours I could grab on the lodestone? Alright. I think it has gotten to I've gotten a bit past when I wanted to end stream, so I'm going to end stream now. I hope you either have had or having will have a great day. So I'm going to sign off now. Let's see who I can raid. Who's online? I just realized I've had Chrome open the entire time I've been streaming, which might be bad for my stream, but you know, it's fine. It doesn't seem to be doing too bad. Where am I clicking? Raid channel. Akaon is currently playing Monster Hunter Rise, and I'm gonna raid him. So I hope you either have had or haven't or will have a great day. Go and follow me on all my places. Throughout chat, if you scroll up, then you can find times it is linked to my card, or you can scroll down a bit and find a link to my card. If you're on the VODs channel, you cannot do that because I'm lazy and don't put that in the descriptions. Just search me up or something. You have Google. Yeah. Bye. I'm gonna raid now in like 10 seconds. Do 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 do. Ending stream.